You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, area small businesses gather to discuss how recent legislation could affect them.
Also, we take a look at how some of those same laws could have an impact on the future of Medicaid in our area.
And we've got clear skies out there, just a few clouds ahead of a hot and muggy Thursday. The latest on your forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Snowy.
And I'm Chris Water, just after 7 a.m. on this Thursday, July the 10th. It's going to be hot and muggy out there, so of course make sure you're taking care of yourself and learning some potential local impacts on some new laws going into effect.
We certainly are. Area health providers say changes are unknown after President Trump signed his budget bill last week.
KOAM's Ty Park spoke with a state senator and local health providers to find out how these cuts will play out.
We just don't know. Our patients rely heavily on Medicaid, so obviously we're very concerned and we're trying to look into the facts, but we just don't have the information, the data right now to know how is this going to impact Missouri and what are the changes going to be.
Stephen Douglas handles the media and public relations for Access Family Care in Missouri. He says a lot of their patients are on Medicaid. On the 4th, the president signed the One Big Beautiful Bill Act into law. It includes over $1 trillion in cuts to Medicaid over the next decade. Supporters of the bill, like Kansas Senator Roger Marshall, says despite the cuts, Medicaid will still be there for those who need it.
We're protecting it. We're saving it for those who need it the most. This is something I've been working on since New Year's Eve when I sat down with Dr. Oz and kind of made a plan going for the future. But we're going to make sure that seniors in nursing homes, people with disabilities, children, pregnant women, we're going to make sure that they have Medicaid.
Hospitals and other healthcare providers in the 4 states are taking a more cautious approach and say much is still in the air. Mercy released this statement, saying in part, caring for those in need regardless of their ability to pay has always been the heart of Mercy's mission. Cuts to Medicaid are a serious setback to our patients and to every American. Not only can this lead to longer wait times in the emergency room for everybody, but it prevents patients from addressing underlying or chronic needs. And it puts an even greater financial burden on patients, hospitals, and the U.S. economy. For those Access Family patients who think they may be on the chopping block, Douglas wants them to hold on for the next 12 months.
So we're going to do all we can to serve them and to advocate for them, and we're going to be right by their side through all of this.
Ty Parks, KOAM News.
Freeman Health System released a statement stating in part they reaffirm their belief that Medicaid is a vital resource for Missourians.
Now, outside of the cuts to Medicaid, Freeman stated they're reviewing other legislation that could help strengthen rural health care delivery in the future. So a lot of big things we've got to just keep an eye on. There's going to be ups, there's going to be downs.
There's no clear answer now.
Right. It's going to be just something to monitor over the coming weeks, and something you need to monitor over the coming minutes is how hot it's going to get today. It's going to be an unpleasant summer day. But again, our summer this year hasn't been that bad so far.
Not so far, yeah.
So let's start with that look outside downtown Pittsburgh. We've got clear skies looking to the south. We've got a few clouds to the north, and that's thanks to a now dead line of what was severe thunderstorms that have fizzled out, and eventually the clouds associated with them will fizzle out as well, leaving us hot, muggy, and sunny. MoDOT camera 20th and range line also looking good this morning. Do still have some fog around the Grand Lake area. Visibilities, because the fog tracker updates approximately every half hour on here, they really haven't changed since we went on the air on the KOAM side at 5 a.m. So again, the Will Rogers Turnpike, US 60, US 69, just low beams, not your high beams. Slow down, of course, and give yourself time to get where you're going. Outside of that, again, a stray cloud or two will be possible today. Future Track thinks a pop-up shower is possible. I'm going to tell you right now, that chance is 1% at best, and I think that's being generous at this point. We're going to be just dry, hot, muggy. A very typical July day in the 4 states, but atypical to the pattern we've had over the last few weeks with summertime, again, not being too rough on us. We're at 72 in Joplin right now, 72 in Pittsburgh. Temperatures now that the sun is up are going to climb rapidly through the morning. Still got a couple upper 60s. Monette, Cassville, everybody else climbing, though, low to mid 70s with Newscast as the warm spot currently at 75. Be about 80 by 9, upper 80s by noon, low 90s for our highs. Clear skies, south winds 5 to 10, and heat index values today could easily reach 100 degrees. So stay hydrated, take breaks if you're outside, find some shade, and just take care of yourself as we get a little bit on the toasty side. Going to be hot and muggy tomorrow as well, and then things begin to improve with rain chances. Details here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, Chris, thanks. Well, a Topeka, Kansas man learns his fate for his role in a 2024 fatal crash in Jasper County, Missouri. The crash happened about 7 months ago on December 7th. Authorities responded to a report of a rollover on Sumac Road and County Road 280 in Jasper County. Troopers say a compact SUV pulled into the path of another car, causing it to overturn. Crystal Emery from Asbury was in that car. She died of her injuries at Freeman West. Authorities arrested the SUV driver Malachi Doyle, who was then 20 years old. Yesterday, a Southwest Missouri judge sentenced Doyle to 2 years of unsupervised probation for the crash that killed Crystal Emery from Asbury. Authorities had originally charged Doyle with multiple charges, including DWI causing the death of another. But as part of the plea bargain, authorities dropped the DWI charge. Excuse me, a 6-month jail sentence was also suspended. Doyle will have to pay more than $300 in fines and court costs. And a woman is dead following a fire on the outskirts of Fort Scott. According to the state fire marshal's office, it happened in the 2200 block of Osage Road shortly before 5 p.m. Tuesday. The Scott Township, Fort Scott, and Bourbon County District 3 fire departments responded to the fire, where a woman with mobility issues was trapped. Firefighters discovered the woman dead in her bed in the living room. The fire marshal's office says there's nothing suspicious about the fire at this time. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Well, cuts to Medicaid funding are just one part of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act. Yesterday afternoon, local business owners in McDonald County learned more about how the federal legislation will impact them. KOAM Samantha Walker has more from the event.
For many local businesses, the past few years have not been easy.
We were thinking about it the other day. We've been through the Great Recession. We've been through so many different cycles. And yeah, it is just really difficult for a small business to continue.
And while focusing to stay afloat, it can be hard to focus on what's happening legislatively at the state and national level.
You know, even for me, I don't really pay as much attention as I should to the legislation.
The McDonald County Chamber of Commerce knows there's a lot of topics business owners are trying to stay on top of.
You know, the lifeblood of this county is small business, and as small business goes, so goes the county. So the more we can grow the vibrancy of the county, the small business community, the more we can grow the vibrancy in the whole county.
A representative from the National Federation of Independent Businesses spoke to business owners about what they're doing to support them, as well as answer questions about recent legislation. Topics included action taken to address minimum wage and sick leave concerns in Missouri, to why the Federation sees the recently passed Big Beautiful Bill as a win for businesses across the country.
The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017 was an incredible bonus for business owners as well as other citizens and their employees. We were fighting for the last 6 years to make sure that it didn't expire with the Main Street Tax Certainty Act that got absorbed into the Big Beautiful Bill. Big Beautiful Bill was not only a win for us and our members, but it was a win for businesses in general. That way, business owners can continue to grow their business, continue to hire employees, continue to pay them, and feel certainty in the future that these protections are not going to be taken away from them.
They say while the Big Beautiful Bill may not be perfect for everyone, it's a big win for small businesses like those in McDonald County.
There are a lot of things in that bill that do impact small business, and to the good.
Business owners like Cooper say they have a bit more hope.
They're focusing on bringing manufacturing back. They're focusing on tariffing those countries that don't play fair. And so that allows our craftsmen, our machinists, our labor to begin to come up.
Reporting in McDonald County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Now, another issue local business owners say they're concerned about is property taxes. That'll be the topic of the next Lunch and Learn hosted by the McDonald County Chamber of Commerce. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Lori Horton is back in the studio this morning with her recipe for toasted pecan cookies. Well, this morning, Lori Horton has been showing us her recipe for toasted pecan cookies. Now, we've done a lot of work already, and we talked about some important ingredients. So what's next, Lori?
Next up is just to put all those things together and make this really yummy dough. It's one that you'll have a hard time kind of staying out of before you put it in the oven, I promise. Although we all know we're not supposed to do that, you know, with the eggs. So we started out with toasting those pecans. And so what I've got now is just a nice little pan. I can get up here high enough you guys can see. Of those. They're slightly browned butter. Those went for about 3 to 4 minutes on a medium to high heat, just constantly turning those pecans, getting that toastiness, that butter kind of warmed into them. So the next thing we're going to do is, again, very simple ingredients. We're going to start with some brown sugar. You could probably hear that thunk in there. It's nicely packed, so be sure you do that when you measure. And you can use light or dark brown sugar for this recipe. It's just your preference. If you really love that warm, sort of almost molassesy more flavor to it, go with the dark. But you can really use either one. I had light extra, so that's what I used today. I'm just whisking together a little bit my white and dark sugar so that those lumps are kind of out of that packed brown sugar. And to that, I'm just going to add some butter. What's a little bit odd is we melted the butter, but then we let it cool. So it's not clear. It's hard to see in that white bowl on there, I know, but it is still very soft and pourable, but it's not that clear, very liquid melted butter. So just kind of back to a quick room temperature. Kind of do that when you first start. And set it aside. And by the time you're ready for it, it'll be good to go. That's one that you just don't want it warm. So we're going to mix that in with our sugars. I'm going to go back to my whisk here in just a second. But I want to make sure I get that bottom scraped well and get all those dry ingredients. And then to that, we're going to add some eggs, some vanilla, pretty standard. And this is going to be very thin to start with because, of course, we haven't added any dry ingredients yet. Get those lumps out of there. You could do this with a hand mixer, but you really don't need to.
No, especially with that butter the way that it is. It blends nicely.
It goes together so quickly, so there's just no need to dirty those extra tools. We're going to add those couple eggs, break up the yolks, get them in as well, and then just a little splash of vanilla because that just makes everything better.
Certainly does.
And really make sure that that is well incorporated before we get to the dry ingredients. But the last thing we're going to add is just our flour and mixture of those baking powder, baking soda, cornstarch, and of course a little dash of salt that we talked about in the last segment. Very important to get the correct ratios on that because that's going to be what makes this cookie so nice and crisp edged, lightly browned, and yet still really soft and tender in the middle. So we'll slowly start to put these together and then we come back, we'll prep them for baking.
All right, sounds wonderful. Lori, thanks. Stick around, we'll be right back. Welcome back. Lori has been showing us her recipe for toasted pecan cookies. Now we're working on making our cookie dough. So what's left?
So good. I've got all of those. We mixed all those wet ingredients together really thoroughly and then just added in those dry ingredients. So right now what we've got is a very nice sticky dough. And the last thing I'm going to add, of course, is those toasted pecans. But you really want to save them for the end and don't overmix. Just fold them in.
Do they need to be cooled down before?
It's best if they are cooled. Again, if you just do kind of melt your butter first, set it aside, work on those pecans, then by the time you get all this done, those are going to be plenty cooled enough to go ahead and use. Just kind of think about your steps when you do that a little bit and you save yourself a lot of time waiting. But we just want to fold those in, make sure they're thoroughly incorporated. And then one of the next most important steps on this dough is to chill it. Because obviously it is a very sticky dough. It doesn't even really hold my spatula up well, so it's a very soft dough. But we need to make sure that it chills so it'll hold its shape. And I've got some that's been in the fridge overnight, at least an hour.
What would you say is best?
You know, the ones that I baked yesterday, I chilled for about exactly an hour. They were spot on.
Wonderful.
I just saved back a little bit so that we could cut those today. So it's not necessary, but again, when you're busy, if you want to make these up the night before,
Yeah.
throw that in the fridge and just bake them off quickly the next day. That works well. You can't over chill them, but you can definitely under chill them. So very important. So you'll see that the dough now is very firm, holds its shape very easily. You can take a knife, you can take a scoop, depending on what size you want to make these, and you're just going to sort of roll them a little bit, form them. You want to bake these on a parchment lined cookie sheet. We like to do that anyway, just saves a little bit of mess. But since these do come out very golden on the bottom, that parchment kind of creates that buffer, and so it keeps them from getting overly brown on the bottom. Keeps them nice and even. So just kind of make some even size pieces. And then what I did on mine was I took some pecan halves and I placed another pecan half in the middle. You could put a couple pieces on there. You'll see these do spread. Again, that's the purpose of us adding that baking powder, soda, cornstarch mixtures. We want them to spread, we want them to crisp, but we still want them to be chewy in the middle. When it comes to the baking time, I actually did a couple trays differently so you would be able to see. This is kind of preference. If you like a little bit darker, more crisp cookie, you can bake them the full like 13 minutes. But if you like them a little bit less so, these baked for about 11. The bottoms are both really nice and
they look great.
Golden, little bit crisp, and even our one that we baked a little bit longer, really soft and chewy in the middle. So you can see that it's those ingredients in there that keep that soft, chewy center to them. We created almost a cake flour that we used for it. So it's really your preference on how long you bake them, but just keep that in mind. You can short them a little bit. They're gonna come out kind of puffy, and then they will settle as they cool.
Yeah, these are pretty flat.
Yeah, and then they will be a little bit less shiny in the middle when they're done. So again, I hate to say you can't overbake them because you can, of course.
But it's really preference.
Exactly.
For the most part.
So don't be afraid to pull them out a little bit early or leave them in there a little bit longer if that's what you like.
All right, wonderful. Well, as always, Lori, thank you so much for sharing another wonderful recipe. These look absolutely delicious. Stick around. Chris is back with weather right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:24 now on this Thursday morning, and we are going to start with the fog tracker, which, of course, I mentioned it earlier. It updates every half hour. The visibilities around the Grand Lake area haven't changed since 5 a.m. until now, so we are seeing those improvements, but still some light fog down there, so just keep an eye out for that and just be prepared to slow down. Beyond that, we might have a cloud, perhaps two. We are otherwise looking at clear skies. It's going to be a hot and muggy day. We are going to be dry. Not much going on from at least a precipitation standpoint. Now, as we go into Friday, through the morning, winds will begin to shift out of the southwest. They'll also increase, gusting upwards of 25. By the afternoon, we get one little round of scattered showers and storms. At this time, doesn't look like it's going to do much. Doesn't look like it lasts very long either. But then, after it fizzles out, late in the evening, after 10, we get another round of thunderstorms. Some of these could be strong to low-grade severe as they push in overnight from Friday night into early Saturday morning. So the best window for some of those stronger storms, if we get any, is going to be roughly from 10 p.m. Friday through about 6, 7 a.m. on Saturday. That round of scattered showers and storms continues to push off to the east, and eventually about 9, 10 a.m. it's done. We get a break in the activity, but I do want to mention if you are out at the lake, you're going to go out to the lake, the pool, whatever the case may be on Saturday, you still want to pay very close attention to the weather because we'll have another round of scattered showers and storms after, say, 2 o'clock on Saturday. Again, it's not rain everywhere all at once, but we could get some additional thunderstorms, so you just want to make sure you're paying attention to the sky and, of course, keep the Skywatch weather app handy as well. Overnight, Saturday into Sunday, still cloudy skies, and that actually is going to help us out a little bit. In terms of the strong storms late tomorrow night into early Saturday, we do have an isolated hail risk, primarily into our northern counties, but then the northern half of our area, we have this isolated damaging wind risk. So we'll keep an eye on the storms for you. Again, it's an isolated risk, but it is there. So we just want to make sure we're paying attention to that. Got a few clouds out there. Now, those clouds that you're seeing here are from a line of severe storms that pushed into northwest Missouri, northeast Kansas early this morning. began to die out, generated a brief outflow of some additional storms. They all died out. The storms are all gone, but we are still dealing with those clouds, and they'll again eventually be gone as well. Mid-70s to start. Look at how quickly we warm up. Mid-80s by 11. Into the afternoon, low 90s for our highs, but our heat index values today could easily reach 100, so make sure you're staying hydrated and taking precautions if you're going to be outdoors for an extended period. Still mild tonight, well, just straight up warm, 80 by 10 o'clock, low to mid 70s. Few clouds out there, south winds still 5 to 10. Again, they pick up a bit tomorrow, low to mid 90s, and again, heat index values tomorrow could easily reach 100. Then we get those thunderstorm chances, and thanks to the clouds, even if you're not getting rain all day, drops our temperatures back a little below normal. Few pop-up storms on Monday. Temperatures rise again, getting hot and muggy again next Tuesday. But then we have additional pop-up storms by Wednesday, and that brings our temperatures back below normal. So that's what I mean. Yeah, we've had days like what we're going to get today where it's hot, muggy, and uncomfortable, but we're getting nice breaks of below normal temperatures, which is a little unusual for this time of year. Let's check your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:30. I'm Elise Snowy. Well, county fairs across the 4 states are in full swing. At the Vernon County Youth Fairgrounds yesterday morning, 4-H exhibitors checked in and weighed livestock as they prepared for the shows. Exhibitors were registering dairy goats and rabbits and weighing in dairy steers. Now, for one 4-H member, county fairs are not just a chance to show off hard work, but also a way to build community and strong connections.
A lot of preparation. It depends what you're in. In dairy goats, it's just a lot of milking and just clipping their hoofs and stuff.
The Vernon County Fair runs through Saturday. And the 58th annual Newton County Fair is officially underway. There's a lot going on at the fairgrounds in Neosho, Missouri. 4-H'ers are busy showing their market livestock. From steers and goats to rabbits and chickens, a lot of work goes into getting each animal ready for fair season. In addition to livestock, the exhibit buildings are now open to the public, where you can view a variety of award-winning projects.
Used to, when I was little, we went to the fair and I saw all the stuff here that was going on, and I thought, wouldn't that be fun to make? So we started making it, and all the plants, the ink pens, art, everything.
The Newton County Fair runs through Saturday. You'll find more information on the events page at KOAMNewsNow.com. And now you can stay up to date with the latest news, weather, and sports with the KOAM Plus TV streaming app. It's available on Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV Plus, and Roku. The player is also available on our news and weather apps, as well as our website. Watch live streaming anytime, absolutely free. The KOAM Plus TV streaming app. Let's head over now to Chris for a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got a hot and muggy day in store for us. We've got clear skies looking to the south. Back to the north, the remnants of some now dead thunderstorms. We've got clouds to the north. They will go away, and it will just be sunny and uncomfortable for us today. Of course, live look downtown Pittsburgh. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line looking back to the north, looking pretty good as well. Already pretty warm out there and heating up as we go through the day. Still have some light fog around Grand Lake. We do have some dense fog now working in to the eastern portions of Berry County. Outside of that, though, we could have a cloud or two today. Otherwise, sunny skies, hot, muggy. Future track again, trying to show a pop-up shower or two. The chance, as I've mentioned, is like 1%. And so I really think we're just going to be dry, hot, and muggy. But our rain chances will increase as we head into Friday. 72 in Joplin already, 73 now in Pittsburgh. All that sunshine warming us up quickly. I still have a couple of low 70s at Newcastle, a little cooler. Everybody else, though, still climbing low to mid 70s as we get this day underway. Be near 80 by 9, upper 80s by noon, going into the low 90s for our highs. Heat index values today could easily reach 100 degrees, so make sure you're staying hydrated, taking care of yourself out there, and we'll have a south breeze 5 to 10. Still hot, still muggy tomorrow, but as I mentioned, rain chances begin increasing. We'll go over those details with you here in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks. And don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. Medical professionals say there is an increase in pneumonia cases in some parts of southwest Missouri, specifically among adults 30 to 60 years old. Reagan DiTrollo talked to doctors and nurse practitioners on what they're treating in the hospital.
I've seen a lot in just 30-year-old women, men that are healthy otherwise, and they were hit hard.
Keisha Hooper is a nurse practitioner with Citizens Memorial Hospital. She says there could be a variety of reasons as to why pneumonia cases are high this time of year.
We're in the summer months as well with travel and holidays, so we're gathering in close proximity with others. I think all factors are playing a role in why we're seeing such a spike in pneumonia cases this summer.
Hooper says pneumonia is not just an infection you need to worry about in the winter months.
I just think it's very important for people to be aware that pneumonia, viral illnesses, respiratory illnesses are not an isolated seasonal illness. They can still occur in the summer months.
There's also other respiratory infections on the rise. You can see in this chart from the Center for Disease Control from July 2024 to February of this year, we start to see an increase in December for flu and COVID hospitalizations, with peaks reached here in January and February. Dr. Barbara Bumberry with Mercy Hospital in Springfield says you must take pneumonia symptoms seriously.
You're going to have similar symptoms as other less severe upper respiratory infections, fever, chills, but you may be running a higher fever for a longer period of time, coughing, productive or dry, shortness of breath.
If it's not responding to the over-the-counter decongestants or things that you've tried at home and you're not getting any better, any relief, definitely pneumonia is a potential.
On both Kansas and Oklahoma, the CDC reports the overall level of acute respiratory illness, including pneumonia, as very low levels. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A London playground takes a different approach to its playground equipment. In Consumer Watch, a federal appeals court blocks a rule that would have made it a little easier for consumers to cancel subscriptions. The court rejected the Federal Trade Commission's click-to-cancel rule on Tuesday. It was set to take effect on July 14th. The appeals court says the agency failed to conduct a preliminary analysis and also did not follow the required procedures. The click-to-cancel rule would have required businesses to come up with subscription cancellation methods that were just as easy as the signing up process. Well, stocks ended on a high note yesterday. The Dow added 217.54 points. The major averages held on to gains as investors monitored the latest tariff developments after President Trump released new tariff letters to a half a dozen countries. The move follows new tariff threats from the administration a day earlier. The president said he would impose 50% duties on copper and a levy of up to 200% on pharmaceutical imports. The Trump administration sent another 7 countries tariff notices on Wednesday, promising more are on the way. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Like him, and him. No, I don't think so. Not too much. He's very good. He's a friend of mine now.
President Trump joked how he would not place tariffs on African leaders making trade pitches at the White House Wednesday, just after he issued another group of countries levy threats ranging from 20 to 30%.
It's a formula based on common sense, based on deficits, based on how we've been treated over the years.
Trump announced tariffs in April, put a pause on them until Wednesday, and now has pushed the deadline to August 1st. A blanket 10% levy remains in place on all imports, plus higher tariffs on specific industries.
We're seeing the tariffs on countries around the world. We're not seeing any inflation because basically they're eating the tariffs, and they're eating it because they cheat us.
But Democrats say the affected countries won't eat the cost. American businesses will.
Small businesses operate on razor-thin margins, week to week or even day to day. They do not have the ability to absorb the cost placed on them by the crushing and overly broad Trump tariffs.
The top Democrat in the Senate says he'll believe the August deadline when he sees it.
Donald Trump always chickens out when it comes to tariffs.
The Treasury Department estimates tariffs have already brought in $100 billion and could reach $300 billion by year's end. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Coming up on 7:44 on this Thursday morning. Again, improving fog conditions around the Grand Lake area. Much better visibilities out there. We do have some denser fog, though, working into eastern Barry County, so do keep that in mind this morning. Outside of that, though, maybe a cloud, perhaps two. Otherwise, sunny skies, hot and muggy. And I know Future Track was showing pop-up shower. I don't think that's going to happen. It is going to just be hot and dry, but don't worry, we have more rain on the way. Unfortunately, it's just in time for the weekend, but it will help us out. Trust me on that one. We go overnight tonight, few clouds out there. We'll start to go partly cloudy into our Friday. Southwest winds will pick up and start gusting upwards of about 25 miles an hour. So we're looking at several rounds of scattered thunderstorms. So it's not rain everywhere all at once, and some folks may go most of the day tomorrow completely dry. But we start about noon. We get a little line of showers, maybe a few thunderstorms working into our northwestern counties, but it doesn't last very long. At least that's the expectation at this point. It fizzles out. We dry out. And as you saw, that's what I'm talking about. That first round, it made it this far. Everybody else spends most of Friday dry. Then after 10, we get a line of showers and storms. Now this line could be strong to low grade severe. As it pushes through, that's going to give us a window for some stronger storms roughly between 10 p.m. Friday through about 7 a.m. Saturday. So we still have scattered storms hanging on out there Saturday morning. They'll continue again beyond 7, but they'll be in a kind of a weakening and exiting state by about 8 o'clock or so. Then it stops again. And as you saw with that run on Future Track, some of our southwestern counties stay dry during the overnight hours. Then we go on Saturday afternoon, and again, you can see this is what we mean by scattered, and it's also what I mean by not everywhere all at once. Another round after 2 o'clock, scattered showers and thunderstorms. Not anticipating anything strong or severe with this activity at this point, but if that changes, we'll obviously let you know. Now, the other side of it is the cloud cover we're going to get, which is going to be beneficial to our temperatures. So tomorrow, as it stands right now, we do have an isolated hail risk, mainly in our northern counties, but the northern half of our area does have an isolated damaging wind risk. So again, something we will keep an eye on. Got some clouds off to our north. That's from that line of now long dead thunderstorms. So those clouds will continue to clear on out. Mid 70s by 8 o'clock this morning, mid 80s by 11. We're going to warm up pretty quickly into the low 90s, south breeze 5 to 10. And heat index values today upwards of 100 degrees. So if you are outdoors, if you got to work outdoors, whatever the case may be, you're going to the fairs, you're part of the fair, just make sure that you are staying hydrated, taking care of yourself out there. Still pretty warm through the evening, 80 by 10, low to mid 70s tonight. A few clouds, south breeze 5 to 10. Again, we get those gusty southwest winds tomorrow. They don't help us at all, but it'll be breezy. Still hot, muggy, low mid 90s. Heat index values again easily approaching 100. But see, the clouds, the rain brings our temperatures back below normal for the weekend. Storms on Monday, we heat back up, get muggy again by next Tuesday, so unpleasant. But then by Wednesday, more pop-up storm chances out there. And take a look, our temperatures drop back below normal. So yeah, we've had these hot and muggy days, but we're also getting nice breaks from the heat, which is extraordinarily unusual for July, but I don't hear anyone complaining, and I'm certainly not going to. That's a check your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Well, recycling just got a lot more fun at a one-of-a-kind playground,
where waste is turned into an art-filled adventure. Tina Kraus has the story from London.
2-year-old Jude has visited a lot of playgrounds, but this one speaks his language. Armed with a pool noodle and a big imagination, he's dialing into the joy of junk.
So yeah, it's kind of like just really opening your mind.
Designer Ruta Irbita helped create Replay, a recycled playground inside London's South Bank Centre, Europe's largest arts hub.
Everything here is from theatre, from films, from shoots, from fashion. These were scraps from a bag making company.
Old scraps turned into new toys.
We call them the caterpillars. These are the cores for medical bandaging.
Artist Sam Casely says the playful possibilities pair perfectly with protecting the planet.
We're saying, here's some objects that used to be some fabric that was going to be made into a bag but now isn't, but you're going to turn it into a cloak for a king, or you're going to turn it into a den.
Or a tunnel like this, built from chairs at a celebrity wedding.
She's my silver snake.
And a slithery snake sewn from leftover lycra, filled with foam from old theater seats. Designers say the ideas are endless.
Kind of like seeing the world with new eyes almost, seeing potential in things that are deemed waste.
I think you might be creating little artists here as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We're giving children these abstract tools to build their own things. They have the potential to become artists.
Is it a snake? Kids like Jude, learning that sometimes the best way to clean up the world is to play in it.
Well, designers hope more communities will create their own recycled playgrounds.
And they say all you need is waste, space, and your imagination.
Very cool. Like to see it.
Very cool indeed. It's not going to be so cool outside today, so if you can, stay indoors, but I know it's not possible for everybody. Let's talk about what we've got going on. Future track today, a stray cloud possible. That's really about it. It's going to be hot, it's going to be muggy, it's going to be sunny. A few clouds overnight tonight, but then by tomorrow afternoon, we start on a path of several rounds of scattered storms. So this first round comes into our northwestern counties. It doesn't really move very far before it starts to die. So most of us will spend almost the entire day tomorrow dry, hot, muggy. But after 10, we get another line of storms. Now this line though could be strong to low grade severe, so we want to watch it. But between say 10 p.m. tomorrow night and about 7 a.m. Saturday, we'll have a window for maybe some strong, again, to low grade severe thunderstorms out there, especially across the northern half of our area. These will continue. They'll be in a kind of a weakening state by 7, 8 a.m. They'll be moving out. We'll get another pause in thunderstorm activity, and then by Saturday afternoon, we get another zone where some of you won't see rain by Saturday afternoon. Others will get additional scattered showers and thunderstorms through the evening. Those will fizzle out, and then we go into Sunday, and it's another round of scattered showers and thunderstorms. As for our severe risk tomorrow, we don't have any tornado risk areas highlighted. That's great. We want it to stay that way. However, northern counties, we do have this isolated hail risk, and then that's why I said northern half of our area, because we have that isolated damaging wind risk. So again, nothing significant is expected at this time, but we could get some stronger storms late Friday into early Saturday, so something we'll certainly keep an eye on for you. Again, these clouds out there now to our north are from those long dead thunderstorms. They'll be gone soon. Sunny skies, mid-70s, and very rapidly warming to the mid-80s by 11 a.m. We're going to have another look at your forecast, plus your wake-up recap right after this.
This is your wake-up recap for July 10th. The top stories to start your day. A woman is dead following a fire on the outskirts of Fort Scott. According to the state fire marshal's office, it happened in the 2200 block of Osage Road shortly before 5 p.m. Tuesday. Firefighters discovered the woman dead in her bed in the living room. The fire marshal's office says there's nothing suspicious about the fire at this time. Malachi Doyle of Topeka, Kansas, learns his fate for his role in a 2024 fatal crash in Jasper County, Missouri. The crash happened about 7 months ago on December 7th. A Southwest Missouri judge sentenced Doyle to 2 years of unsupervised probation for the crash that killed Crystal Emery from Asbury. And that's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
And we've got a hot and muggy day out there. Sunny skies, low 90s, heat index values up to 100. So do be careful and make sure you're taking care of yourself. Still warm through the evening and mild overnight, low to mid 70s, just a few clouds. Southwest winds tomorrow gusting to 25. Heat index values once again approaching 100 with storm chances building for at least some of us through the late afternoon, evening, overnight, and into the weekend. And that'll bring our temperatures a bit below normal for this upcoming weekend as well.
Alrighty, well, the city of Joplin debuts a brand new mural yesterday afternoon. A ribbon-cutting ceremony for the mural took place at Smith's Flooring Stores.
The Joplin Arts District partnered with Aloe Fiber on the mural titled All Aboard, whose theme is a message of unity, welcoming everyone regardless of who or what they are. There's a lot of great murals in downtown. I know a lot of other communities, catching up on this as well. So if you're ever driving around, take time. Don't suddenly stop in the middle of the street by any means, but take time to observe the different murals that are out there. A lot of great artwork.
Absolutely. Great to see.
Well, again, make sure you're staying hydrated. I know the county fairs are going on, so make sure if you're going out that you're just taking care of yourself. And we will be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.